I knew you were coming in, and I knew that there was an established like collective relationship. All three of you knew each other, tight with Brett, all the way back to SCAD days. And I thought, oh crap. By now, I've done a few things with these guys, but like, he's going to direct it. Like,
It's
okay.
the real thing.
So, oh shit, Josh is here.
We're
getting serious.
It was on me. Like, I added the pressure to myself internally, just like, okay, well, I don't know him and how he operates or how he directs, but like, they're all great. So it should be fine. And I remember talking to Brett like a week or so before, and like, he's great. Like, y'all gonna mesh fine. Like, real laid back, killer writer. He's gonna kill me, but Brett gave you all kinds of compliments.
Yeah, I want to make sure this one goes in the front of the podcast.
That's right.
There's your cold open. Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Jason Sheedy.
I'm Joshua David Matthews.
And I'm Kyle Steinecke.
And we are Heebie-Jeebies Pictures, and this is our podcast, Deep Dark Well, where we dive into some fun film things with some friends. Today on the show, we are pleasured?
We are pleasured. That's the other podcast, Jason.
We record that one after dark.
Yeah. After dark. Well, today on the show, we are delighted to have a buddy of ours and a very talented individual, Kyle Gazak, who is a man of many talents, has acted in film, TV, stage, and been in a handful of our own projects, which we will shamefully plug throughout the program. Kyle, thanks so much for being on, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. Stoked to be here.
I want to say that you forgot to say that this is Deep Dark Well, where we're going to deep dark dive.
It was implied. When people watch the show, they're like, what do we got here? It's called Deep Dark Well. I assume I'm going to be going on some sort of deep dark dive.
All right, Kyle, thank you again for being here. First off, I would like to know why you are working with people like us.
Well, very similar vein. What y'all said, it's, you'll keep going until it's not fun anymore. I always have a blast working with you guys. And from my personal experiences in projects past, I've always been challenged in one way, shape, or form. And like, that pushes me. And so nothing ever feels static. And I mean that as the utmost compliment.
Get out of town.
I feel like there's limits that like we're trying to push, and, like a degree of progression, in just our own skills and growth and
hopefully
and story. Hopefully. I mean, that's what it feels like from this end.
Then the grand illusion is working.
Plus there's something, I guess, we can get into this later, but my route through acting and film and whatnot has always had this, I don't know, tone or flavor of being unorthodox, a little gritty, behind the curve or under the thumb. And so, like, always kind of driven to push up against obstacles, to get the project done or get the story right. And not all the time, but like, I feel a lot of that, when we work together, that obviously if you're not going to have a collaborative spirit, like, get out. Just in general, like in arts in general, if you're not having a collaborative spirit, like, that's so foundational. And that has always been a core component, with working with you guys and the, fellow Heebie alums, if you will. And yeah, that consistency is just, refreshing, if I'm being honest. I've experienced, projects and work and whatnot where that's just not always the case. And if it is, it's not a priority every time. Like, if there's a script that comes through or a call or a, hey, last minute favor, or
which
you want to come in and save the day. Like, I know it's going to be a great time and there's going to be value in it. And I'm probably going to learn something. So if I'm not growing and keeping that constant state of becoming, like I don't want to become like stagnant and stale. And so that's always happening in the background. So,
I was actually expecting a joke But I forget that we're actually going to get really earnest questions from you. So.
I mean, I'll joke too.
You've disappointed Joshua. He wanted something for the social media.
I work with y'all for the catering because, man, we eat well every shoot. And that's on Kyle. Like,
I love that.
That's a Steineke special. Yeah, he's been doing that since Kyle and I met in college. That's one of the things he prides himself on, which I'm grateful for. Because we learn that's the things you don't go cheap on. You never go cheap on food.
it's fuel. Like, this is half joke, half serious, but you can't tell on the screen for most of y'all watching, but like, I'm the size of a tree. And with that comes like, I need energy and fuel, especially for, 12, 14-hour days or whatever. And it's done.
I love to like take it back though. You mentioned, we'll get into it, but let's get right the hell into it. Like as far as, you getting into this, was there a moment like in your younger years or a movie that you watched where you were like, you had that sort of like the switch went on, you're like, oh, this is what I want to do now?
There was, but it happened in between a longer span of things, which let me try to blitz. So hope y'all pack a lunch. So I was all about dinosaurs and
my man,
like, I mean, like I can still name them like crazy right now, but kid, like
Name
growing
one.
up,
sorry, real quick, what's your favorite dinosaur?
Quetzalcoatlus. Oh, I have a soft spot for Minchimosaurus because that's like the tallest sauropod. But
I don't even.
Y'all
Oh, okay,
Googling
sauropod.
it.
I can picture that. Yeah,
he makes a cameo in the dinosaur documentary series on Netflix. Growing up as a kid, like that was number one passion. I wanted to be a paleontologist. Like
I did not
all
know
the
that.
way through almost to the end of high school, dinosaurs were the thing. I had a plan. I was going to go to state school. I was going to get on a dig team for the summer. Like, I'm going to go out to the Badlands or South America. I'm going to find me a new dinosaur. Like, I'm going to discover something that's going to be incredible. Now, if you rewind back to 93, the movie that did it for me, acting, film, everything, was Jurassic Park.
I was gonna take a lofty guess.
Yeah. I mean,
Point Break.
seeing that scale and scope of story really did something within me, excuse me. But I didn't really fully acknowledge what was going on at the time and how that was developing. So through middle school and high school, everybody else saw it. They're like, this guy's a character. Like, he is meant to be on stage or on camera. Like, he loves doing voices and being the life of the party or jumping up on stage at church or whatever, like always trying to get some kind of performance out there. But I was like, no. Like, I like doing that, but I don't want to act. And so, not to get too serious, but through school, because of my height, there was a lot of bullying. So not in the physical sense, but it was all verbal.
Sorry, this boggles my mind that people would bully you because you could physically dominate.
It was so weird. Like, it was, you're Gumby, you're the freak, you're Lurch, you're Redwood. Yeah. Oh, I have so many. And they would always shoot names and whatnot from afar, but they would never get in close because they realized they're kind of smart. Like, oh, he might actually beat us up. And so it was just kind of annoying enough to the point where I dismissed any notion of acting or performance. Why, if I'm already a target, why would I actively put another target or a bigger target on my back and literally be in the spotlight for the school to see, the world to see, wherever? Like,
man, what a bummer. I hate when I hear about stuff like that.
I made up for lost time, but I was just so against it. And then, I mean, toward the end of high school, I started like dabbling just a little bit of community theater. At the time, my dad had a regional production company in the Charlotte area. And so he'd bring me into a couple of things like stuff at fairs, patriotic production, live nativity, things just to kind of like get my feet wet as far as the live audience. Yeah, right toward the end of high school is when like the bug really caught on, and I was going to take a break and not go right into college or anything since that was happening. I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't dig up bones just yet. And it still took me years until I felt like, all right, now it's time. I've gotten a little bit more under my belt, like in the community sense of local shows, and went to college and went after a degree in theater. Film and theater were under the same umbrella. So our houses mingled. like, hey, can you work on my project? Hey, can you come over here and be a stage? You know, there was a lot of that. And so I kind of got a good amount of experience before even graduating on the film side. When that sunk in and it clicked, it's like, okay, not to, I got to toe that line to not be cocky and pretentious, but like when I step out on stage, I'm like, you can't dismiss me. Or when I'm in frame, like I'm going to get your attention one way or the other. And ever since graduating in 2011, it's just been film and TV and voiceover. I did a stint for about 7 years also working on, or working with a dance academy.
You have moves. That's what I'm hearing.
I do. I used to teach swing. I'm like, could do low level ballet. I really enjoyed advanced partnering, all the fancy lifts that you see, jazz, contemporary, ballroom. But that was taking care of like the stage route. But really since 2011 has been really pushing just film, TV, voiceover. And along the way, even from college, there have been connections and little points and pings on the radar that have brought me to here and to y'all and to now.
I'm curious. I always like hearing when people have done both stage and film, especially since you started more in stage, what that transition was like. And if there was anything you sort of like took with you into film and then other things you left. Like, I mean, I think the common thing you hear is like, you know, on stage, you would often give stuff that's more exaggerated because you're trying to sort of reach the people in the back of the room. But I'm just curious what your take on that transition was.
That's probably the number one thing where you are forming for person right down here in front, just staring at you, and the one very, very back row. And so it needs to be big and over the top. Like, are you kidding me? I can't believe we're having this conversation right now. You saw what happened versus the camera catches everything. You cannot lie. And so it's so nuanced and so much more can be said with so much less.
Even the difference in what you just did, I just think it's you just gave the example, right? Like, you know, with all the body movement and then just talking to me with like literally no movement. It's funny sometimes. I think as an actor, I am not an actor.
Get out of here.
And the few times that I've tried to put myself in front of camera, that's the one thing I remember always reminding myself. I'm like, and it's exactly what you said. I mean, just to validate that, like the camera will catch everything you do. So don't overdo it.
Josh or Jason, have either of you ever directed any stage?
I haven't. I'd love to.
I did a 1-act play in my undergrad.
It was a 1-man show called Where Is My Hair Gone? And Josh had this really cool rig where over the course of 2 days, all of his hair just fell out.
And the rest is history.
Variety called it the worst waste of time ever.
Yeah. Y'all get a kick out of this, but I haven't done too much like directing in stage. It's been all small stuff like fringe festivals or like quick 1-acts or whatever. But I actually remember directing Aaron Omby, who's a Heebie alum, at college for a quick 1-act called Beijing Big Mac, I think, and it was delightful. It was hilarious.
What?
Yeah. These two strangers meet at a McDonald's in Beijing, and it's actually a delight.
Okay, that actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
It is interesting too, because we knew Aaron before we met you, but then we met you, and then we realized that you knew Aaron. So it's just become this full circle.
And how did we meet you?
So
tell us, remind us of that.
So I'll jump through it quick. Director Matthew Fisher, he worked at Lee University where I went to school.
He wrote my thesis film.
Yeah, see, like I didn't know this for the longest time that y'all all knew each other, but he brought me on board for a short after I had graduated, but still in the area. I was like 2014, 2015. He brought Brett in, who's a alum, Brett Brooks. And that's where we met and like hit it off like, yeah, we're going to be friends. Yeah. Let's tell some stories. So jump forward 4 years and I'm living in Atlanta and there's a 48-hour film festival coming up. And, he was telling me a little bit about it. Like, man, I hope y'all have a great shoot. Like go crush it. I might get on a team with somebody. I had just gotten there. So I was like 3 or 4 months in fresh. So I'm still kind of like getting the lay of the land. And, I was having a very tumultuous week to put it lightly. And at the very end of that week, when things started to shift, I got a call from Brett saying, hey, someone backed out who shall be nameless because they went on to be in some big shows, but we need someone last minute. And this was like Thursday night. And
the man that backed out was Pedro Pascal, listeners.
It's true. It's true.
Is he lying? Who knows?
No, this was like Thursday night. And the 48-hour film festival ran from, midday Friday through turning in the films on Sunday. Y'all were already locked in, but I came in like literally last minute. So I hadn't met y'all on Zoom or anything. And we just kind of like jumped into it. And I remember meeting you, Jason, and you, Kyle, and everyone was just like vibing. And I do remember the feeling I had with Brett, like talking post Helen, like, man, this guy's cool. Like, we're going to tell some stories. I had the same idea and thought, like, with y'all. The success from that actually carried forward in my mind because, and this ties into when we met Josh, when, this was 23, when we were all like kind of jumping back in, like, all right, let's take another crack at 48-hour. I knew you were coming in, and I knew that there was an established, like, collective relationship. All three of you knew each other, tight with Brett, all the way back to SCAD days. And I thought, oh crap. By now, I've done a few things with these guys, but like, he's going to direct it. Like,
It's
okay.
the real thing.
So, oh shit, Josh is here.
We're
getting serious.
It was on me. Like, I added the pressure to myself internally, just like, okay, well, I don't know him and how he operates or how he directs, but like, they're all great. So it should be fine. And I remember talking to Brett like a week or so before, and like, he's great. Like, y'all gonna mesh fine. Like, real laid back, killer writer. When I got there, I was kind of not as jovial as I usually am at the start of something. I guess I was a little bit more focused and just, okay, yeah, let's get to work, until
I bring that out of people.
Probably like halfway through the weekend. It was just this pressure that I put on myself. Like, okay, I want everything to gel right. And I don't want to be a disservice to whatever story we're going to end up telling, or to the, like I said before, collaborative spirit. Like, I think we'll be good, but man, I hope that like nothing goes wrong, and delight.
And which show was that for?
That was One Way to Forget.
And that sounds like a Bond movie.
That was another thing, because that was your jumping back in, if I'm not mistaken, which someone told me that, like, into narrative specifically, because
that was my test to see if I wanted to do film anymore. I'd been wanting to get back into it, but
I remember after the weekend was over too, and I was just like, well.
I was like, as long as Brett and me don't have to write together anymore, I'm fine. No, but I will say working on that film and getting to meet you was great, because I'd seen you, and to recap, you met Brett through Matt Fisher
working on
Helen the Greatest of All.
Mm-hmm.
And then through that, you met Jason and Kyle through Grimoire on the 48 Hour.
Did we work together though before then? Didn't we work on Checkpoint before? No, we didn't.
No, that was 19 was Grimoire. And then I came back. I remember Checkpoint was Disembodied was the COVID darling, because it was at the end of 2020.
Disembodied was, yes.
And I had serious FOMO, because it's like I see everyone there at Noonan's apartment filming, and I'm on the laptop in my studio. Like, I love that film, but I was just, after it was all done, like, close the laptop. I'm like, guess I'll put a mask on and go walk or something. Like when you jump forward to summer 21, I think, you had given me a call like, hey, you want to be a gladiator? It's kind of last minute. It's only for a day. I'm like, I'm in.
That was fun. I don't think anyone else could have done that either. Like, it needed to be someone. And I think that's what's so cool about like your flexibility as an actor, is you have this, obviously you're built and you're big and stuff, so you can have this imposing presence, but then you can also do stuff that's very heartfelt and very soft and very sincere. And I think that's one thing we've enjoyed working with you as an actor, is you have that range. Because I feel like one of the films that I saw you into that I really enjoyed, and I forget the title and the director, so you'll have to shout it out for me, but it was the one where basically you were like wrongfully being cast as like this like villain character and you were just a nice guy. Typecast. Oh.
By Adam Nice.
But I love that one because I thought that was just such a clever way to kind of like take exactly that and then put a spin on it and make it into a really entertaining story. Is there like a way to sort of break away from that? Like, I mean, I guess like in general, like you could risk being typecast in anything if you do a role a certain way more than once and you do it well and people start to see you in that role. But like for you personally, what's that journey been like?
It's been walking a fine line of accepting and going after projects that, would fall into that typecast category because work. But then also, no, I'm not going to do that because that's not fulfilling, or it might not challenge me or satisfy creatively.
Which is a very fair, legitimate reason. I mean,
hey, they need, a generic boss or henchman or whatever, but it's for the scope, and a huge studio and like great cast and director. Like I'll look at the secondary things and see if there's a way through and like value in that. Like, okay, well, this might be a typecast type role, but look where it's filming. Look who's going to be there. Like, I mean, that could be really good networking possibilities, or you might just go to school, because of who you're going to be working with, even if you're doing something that you could do in your sleep. If like Odyssey's coming out, later this year, if I had gotten a word or something like, you know what, they want you to be Greek soldier number 37 or whatever, that just gets like pulverized in, some opening battle or whatnot. Oh, I mean, okay, yeah, that's typecast, but are you kidding me?
You get to be in an environment where you're getting more than maybe you might get on a Heebie-Jeebies picture. Yay!
Hey.
I took a dig at our own company too. I'm a sassy little bastard tonight.
It's really just like I'm highly aware of what I can bring to the table, and it's also my job to kind of display what I can do as in like a broad sense as best I can, so that I don't get pigeonholed into one area.
What are you really looking for in a role? Like, what would you like to play next? And why wasn't it the priest in The Hell With You?
Ooh, spicy. To the answer to the first part, I do actually want to do a role that utilizes my size in a very grandiose way that I haven't experienced before. So whether that be, perfect example, Frankenstein, Jacob Elordi, he's 6'7", I'm 6'8". The makeup and everything that he went into, like something like that, or something like that in the vein of perhaps an Alien type of sci-fi route, because I love that genre, or visually, and this is based off of myself, but also a lot of feedback that I get from people, whether it be people I know or strangers or people in the business. You need to be on Vikings. You need to be in a Pirates movie. That's what I get more than anything. And then as far as the priest, just wasn't feeling it. It just, I thought about it for a good week. I'm just like, that ain't for me. Sorry.
You didn't want to play a con man priest who shoots a kid?
Not.
Oh, wait.
I mean,
I get it.
Con man priest. Like, sadly, that's a real thing. But like, yeah. But I do appreciate the offer, because the movie is hilarious.
Well, I think this is a good opportunity to talk about our latest venture together, which was a short horror film we shot back in the fall called DAGNABBIT, which the South is going to love. The North is just going to be like, what is DAG? But I think that was, one of the first opportunities that we've really had to because you are in the movie, and without spoiling anything, like that's your movie. Like, you play the lead, like you are on camera the entire time. And I think you carry the movie. There's really no dialogue.
Yeah, it wasn't a last minute, hey, can you fill in this role?
No.
Like, we actually wrote this film for you to star in it. So that's
right.
But I think
it was
it's interesting.
Tough to memorize those lines, though.
Right? It's interesting though, because I feel like I'm curious from your stance, because like we pictured you for the role, but it wasn't necessarily because of like the physicality. Like if anything, if there was any physical thing about the role that we were like, oh yeah, he's got a beard, like that like worked, but like there wasn't anything necessarily about like the stuff you were talking about earlier. But I'm curious from your perspective, going into like the script and stuff, did you feel like that lent something, like what you were saying, like where the physicality sort of was a part of the character and that was a way to sort of mold into it?
Well, it was, and on the flip side, what drew me to it, like what I was saying earlier about nuance, I'm so conditioned with dialogue heavy scenes. You always hear show, don't tell, and I've always been locked on this idea of, yeah, but what if you can tell so good that you're just with theater, I was going through a program where 5-minute monologues was my end of semester exam. Like, go for it. And so I'm thinking of dialogue heavy roles. And so when I saw this, I'm like, all right, okay. Oh, okay. This is all here. That was like immediate challenge for me because I hadn't really done anything like that where there really isn't too much dialogue to lean on or to carry things forward. It's the circumstances and the conditions and what he's dealing with on paper. That's what challenged me. And then, reading it after it had gone through the couple drafts, this has the, possibility of leaning into some quirky habits and behaviors or, just, things I don't normally get to do, or get sought after for.
I love stuff with little to no dialogue. I mean, I've made enough now to annoy everyone, but I feel like that there's a good opportunity there where, well, I think it opens up a lot of like what you said, you're not leaning on the dialogue. So I think there's a little bit more room to kind of take something and lean one way or the other. But then I also like the idea that, I mean, for me personally as a director, and I would think this is an actor, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts, is I feel like there's sort of an opportunity to be a little bit more in the moment because you're not like, I mean, a line you're memorizing, but aside from maybe blocking, like you've got to be here because the camera's here. We're not like, you're not necessarily memorizing. Like we're not giving you the minutia of like your foot goes here, your arm goes here. It's sort of just like, here's what's happening. You need to be here. Let's run some takes. And that was the most fun for me on the set of DAGNABBIT. Was just kind of like getting the camera set up. And it's like, all right, you're going to be here. Like you need to go sit down and then whatever else happens is up to you. And I had a really fun time with that. But I'm curious, like, is that liberating then? Or is that a little, like you said, it was kind of more nervous or like?
That was a blast. And it's a perfect point for me to like give shine to all of y'all. Like just it on the producing side of things, everything's like still running like a well-oiled machine. To y'all's credit, Jason and Josh, y'all do something which I have coined the term playground directing, and that's from an actor point of view.
It sounds delightful.
Yeah, I like this. Keep going.
It means that they all get together and scream at each other like on a playground.
basically and throw Tonka trucks and like, yeah. So y'all have this clear vision that you bring to the table, and you know what you want from the story, and like think of that as a playground. You have your swing sets, you have your slide, you have your water fountain, your bathrooms, your benches. You know what you're going to do. And I've like from the actor looking to y'all, I watch and observe. Y'all know what you're going to do and what you want to bring. However, in the playground, there's this little area over here. It's a little sandbox, and you allow me, the actor, or whoever to get up in there for a little bit, try certain things. Now you could come right over and be like, well, that's dog water, and just wipe it away. Or that's okay. That might be something. Let's try that. And maybe it works and it gets implemented into the playground, or no, we'll try it again. But to have the space, and I can't gloss this over or stress this enough, having that ability, having that, the access to bring that, to try new things, to have that trust and safety net is huge. And to my delightful surprise after seeing it, like some of those choices made it. And I know other choices on the day when I did that, I went, yeah, they were doing that for me. That's not going to make it.
How do you prefer to work in terms of, and I've had this discussion with Aaron and Brett as well. Like if we're doing like a rather, like the example I can think of is when we shot Reclaimers with Aaron, I was like, there's some heavier parts of this movie. Do you want me to not be myself and like be an adult?
Not be goofy.
Yeah. Do you want me to not like, crack jokes and stuff? Like, I mean, we like to keep it loose, obviously, even in our sets, and just keep it, light and fun. as much as we can. But I'm curious for you as an actor too, like, do you like to have that release between takes where it's sort of, there is that separation? Or like, I mean, give the example, like with a drama, do you want to stay in that character mindset? And
I guess it really depends on the role in the project. Like, I guess I take it case by case basis. Like, I'm all for having that levity and that breath between takes, especially if it's serious and can, get it can start to weigh you down maybe if you're going for a long time. But I can see the flip side of just kind of staying locked in. And I mean, I'm not a method actor, but I mean, as long as whatever method you're doing does not become a disservice or a hindrance to the overall collaborative effort and what you're trying to capture on camera, then I'm like, you do you. I have no problem taking a step away, and like finding my own space for a minute or so if people just want to be themselves. And like, I like easygoing sets, but it can be intense. We worked on something before and I was very much locked in for that, wardrobe on the whole time, stayed in character the whole time, to the point where I kind of spread out a little bit because even if the camera wasn't on me, I was just like locked in. And I mean, that was an overnight shoot and an immaculate setting. So I was just, I wanted to stay in that as much as I could and as like focused as I could.
I guess we should recap for the audience, like what this project actually is.
probably.
Jason, why don't you explain it?
You got it, boss. So the long story short of this is that we made a short film called The Guardian. It was a overnight shoot, and the film was like 90% a oneer up until the ending. And we planned this oneer out. I mean, we spent like 3 or 4 hours at this location, kind of blocking. We didn't have access to locations the night of the event, so we had like done some scouts and things. But anyway, we had done a bulk of the work getting that oneer set up, the night for the shoot, and counted our time for that. But unfortunately, there was a situation with the camera where basically there were some technical issues that did not allow us to shoot the oneer in the way that we had wanted to. So we had essentially tried to sort of put some pieces together and shoot it in the same idea of the way we wanted to, but unsuccessfully because it just wasn't, we had planned it to be this certain way. So anyway, but The Guardian was a short horror film.
Surprise.
Yeah, a home invasion film that gets supernatural. And I won't spoil the ending on here just in case we ever get to shoot it again.
Just in case, because you saved all the props.
That's
can get that house again.
Because it has quite a twist. But Kyle got to play alongside Brett Brooks and Aaron Omi, but Kyle was Brett's counterpart in this. They were essentially in these like long red robes with these creepy masks. Their characters called Alpha and Beta, and they were breaking into this woman's home to steal something that she had. And the twist happens when they find out what it is.
Which floored me. First time I read that, I was like, no way. Can we do this right now? I loved it. And then the costumes and everything, for me, it felt like very theatrical.
It was a story that I pitched to Jason as a one-shot in home invasion with a more of an Evil Dead, surprise, ending, but the Book of the Dead. But we didn't really want to do something that was that, I guess, tropey. But then Jason said, I wish it could be something cool like. So I was like, well, why can't it just be? And then, but that, like, making that decision retroactively changed the script and the characters in the story. So now that we know what it is, now the characters make more sense to be this thing instead of just home invaders. So then they get the theatrical robes and the masks and
even the picture that was made. Like,
oh wait, hang on, this is all that remains. I kept it as a souvenir.
Oh yeah,
that's fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was. I mean, honestly, that was a. I can also just put that in B-roll.
Whatever, man.
But it's cute when you. But it's cute.
You're damn right it is.
What was that night like for you?
I actually had a blast because I remember weeks before this, or before shooting, I mean, y'all had this wonderful 3-page, I think, document of the backstory. It's bittersweet to talk about because it's really good, and it kind of meshes a couple different genres. But that whole night, like, I had a blast because even though as you say, like, the short might have failed and there was like technical difficulties, we still did the work. And I can only speak from my experience. Like, I still went through that entire story that night. One of the coolest locations I think I filmed at ever. My gosh. I mean, and I didn't even see all of the grounds, but, that made, everything feel obviously very tactile, in lieu of what was going on in the story and the secrecy and artifacts and this and that. And I've just, you've never seen a home invasion movie kind of in that style. And so the costumes were incredible. Like, I'm over here thinking, how are they gonna, like, what are they getting to make me intimidating? Like, more intimidating. And sure enough, like, y'all's selections, like, I remember putting that outfit on and like doing the test at the house. Oh my God. Like, in the drop down light, like, this is going to be terrifying.
Another thing that really worked well in The Guardian, honestly, Kyle, was like your attitude on there. Watching you and like just be like a positive force on set during what was a very tough time for Jason and myself and crew was excellent to watch. And you bring that attitude to every set, to every film project you're on us with.
I was hoping so. I'm trying.
No, I'd love to know, I think, just as any like parting words for anybody that maybe is getting into acting, whether it be theater, stage, like picture yourself back in that point of growing up and like your situation. Like, is there anything that you wish you had known?
You can prepare as much as you want and think you can, like, till you're blue in the face, and you're going to be on projects or situations in the industry where you're just not prepared. And you have to navigate that, whatever that is, in real time, whether that be a confrontation with a crew member, losing a role, something last minute that changes your schedule, toxicity, anything. You're going to have to navigate that in real time, but also allow yourself some grace because it's a really intricate and multi-layered industry. There's tons of things going on all the time, and you learn as you go. So don't be so hard on yourself. You'll get there.
You are the bag of sunshine we all need in our lives.
That's what I was talking about, right there.
Right. Or Lighthouse. That's one of my other nicknames.
The Lighthouse. It sounds like a wrestling name.
It's like I'm gonna tear you up in the ring.
I love that.
And next Monday, it's going down.